think the most important thing in today's world, and I think it's important that we set the context right, from where the world is in the world of marketing, so to say, from where it was, let's say, 10, 15, 20 years ago. The number one thing that has changed is the ability to know your customer directly, right? In these day and times versus, let's say, 20 years ago, where you did a point research with 1,000, 2,000 people to understand what your consumers or your customer really wants, and then extrapolated that to the millions of customers and segmented accordingly. Today, given digital, you have an ability to actually connect directly with those millions of customers and gather enough data about them, not just in terms of what transactions they have, but what behaviors they're exhibiting on social media, on other digital platforms, what kind of emotions are they showing for your brand, and measure those, right? And collect that data in one place and measure that for millions of customers. Now, this is what the digital marketing engine that has happened over the last 20 years has changed for marketers. The second big thing is, as you gather this data, your ability to get real-time insights about your customers and your consumers that you have collected data for on a real-time basis is becoming the biggest weapon as far as marketers are concerned, right? Ability to be able to see who's buying what, when, and where, which channel, and then being able to tell that customer what is the best thing that they can buy or the best offer they can get to be able to buy again. I think that ability of being able to analyze that data, get insights, is probably the core of marketing today versus the prior years. I've been a practicing marketer, and believe me, I would be, if I went back 30 years when I was, or 25 years when I was a brand manager in Europe, and got to understand what my consumers are doing on a real-time basis, I would have been a much better marketer, which probably is what is happening today in today's world. And that's what we are enabling. So I think personally, digital is here to stay. Clearly, we are seeing that is becoming anywhere between 50 to 60% of marketers' spend. Number one. Number two, I think specifically within the loyalty side, I think we'll see 2 or 3 big trends, right? Loyalty to a large extent had been focused on tiers, points, earn, burn, transactions, and so on and so forth, right? Which is a very, I would say, very well connected to the business. So very easy to connect it to the business of that brand. Because it is a brand, there is an emotional angle, there is a behavioral angle. And because there is a lot more digital ecosystem around brands right now, both the behavioral and the emotional part of loyalty is going to be equally important. So just to give you an example, you want your customers to, of course, buy more of your products, but what you would want is to see if they can recommend them to other customers. At the end of the day, loyalty is about what? It's about a customer who's able to get in another customer, right? He's so happy with your product that he can get in another customer. So I think going beyond transaction, for what behaviors are they exhibiting? And the behaviors could be, he writes a blog for your product, right? He writes a review on a blog that he likes about your product, right? And you give him points for that. You don't just give him a point for buying your product, right? He goes on social media and likes your post. He goes on Facebook and likes your post or reshares your post, and you get points for that, right? I think these are important behavioral aspects that we want to make sure that people... And the third aspect is the emotional part of it, right? Which is, are you recommending me? That's the epitome of emotionality, right? Second, do you trust me as a brand? And there are 5-6 metrics that you can measure, which is something that you will find on our platform now. And it's something that is appreciated by customers in terms of being ability to measure the emotional loyalty of that customer. And the last thing I would say in loyalty would be the fact that it's not a program that you should see, right? A lot of people approach it as a program, which basically means yeah, I have to have some points, I should have some tiers, I should have some earn, burn, redemption, and track all those. But the moment we start looking at it as a program, you end up kind of focusing on the transaction piece. What you want to see eventually, and I think that's a trend that's happening, is loyalty is an outcome of everything that you do for the brand, right? Every action that you take for the consumer, in terms of communication or otherwise, loyalty should be the outcome for that, and not so much just a program and an initiative.